Ladies and gentlemen, you will improve your ability of choosing the correct direction of playing Go moves during the middle game. We are making new special Go lessons at polgote.com so that you will improve this part of the game a lot. It doesn't matter what your Go level is, because there will be at least several groups for players of different ranks. 1 week before each lesson, you will be getting several Go situations so that you can think about these situations on the start by yourself. Then you attend the lesson and you join the discussion with the teacher about what's going on the situation, where it's possible to play, what are the possibilities, what are the options, what to think about in this case. Now let's focus on this particular situation which you see now on the screen. Black played some move to probably attack white. Right now these two stones starts to be a little bit weaker, so maybe for white it would be quite big to protect these stones and connect with the other stones. Like this, it looks like white has a group which is completely alive on the right, so if white runs to that group, then maybe these two stones will be alive as well. But where is white's territory? While playing this move number 1, like this, white doesn't get anything, because white doesn't get any territory, so white only escapes. White only doesn't die. This is the only profit for white, what white gets. Also, we can also notice that these kind of moves are center for white. So that now when we add move number 5 in this spot, we also see that white doesn't get so spectacular shape, this empty triangle, so that for white it's really not interesting to connect these stones with the other stones. It's just small. So maybe it would be possible to play something so that white will not die with these two stones, but white will not need to play here. If white will be able to play any other move around, when white doesn't play this dame move, because white doesn't get anything, no points, no thickness, nothing while this connection. So if white will be able to play something from the other side, then white will not need to spend a move here, white will have this stone in some other spot. So that the some other spot, it will be, in my opinion, much more interesting. Doesn't really matter where around this spot is, somewhere here, here, doesn't matter. In my opinion, it will look anyway much better than a simple connection this way. So what to think about? In my opinion, this A might be like interesting move to think about. Maybe it's also possible to play here at B, also a way to escape, maybe even at C. This might be also some other possibility. And maybe it would be still possible to play tenuki. Maybe here something like D or E. This is also some other possibility to play something there on the left, because maybe black will still not be able to kill white. So let's check out these possibilities. So if white plays at A, white will look like white escapes with these stones somewhere there in the center. So now if black cuts these two stones, white is able to play something here higher. Maybe white will be able to play something like this. White basically escapes with this group, and white feels, in my opinion, quite comfortable. Black played this dame. Now this stone, this move number 2, it doesn't make much sense for black, because what did black get with this stone? Black cut a group which is alive, and black cut a group which is already quite strong, this group in the center. So that black cuts almost two groups which are almost alive already. So this cutting makes not much sense for black. So maybe black will not be interested either in cutting this shape. Maybe black will play something from the other side. So while playing like this, maybe it's already more interesting for black. And now what can white do? If white follows, and if white keeps playing somewhere in that direction, maybe white will be interested even in cutting here this one black stone. Like this, white will be alive. White will be alive, okay, looks nice, but on the other hand, black got here a very strong shape. Now when black got this move number 8, black can, without any doubts, play in Sansan, and black will survive there without really any problems. So now, okay, white got this group alive, but white lost center. This is one minus disadvantage for white, and also black will be able to do there much more problems for white in the corner on the left. Also, even if black would not decide to jump there, make any invasion and so on, it's also much bigger endgame for black to play something like this even. But the Sansan looks much more powerful. It also might be more interesting for black to play invasion in a little bit different way. For example, at this point marked with cross, because now white will not be able to make so nice base with this shape because black has this entrance. Black has this entrance there, so that it's more difficult for white to create eye shapes and so on. So maybe this result would be also quite comfortable for black. In this option, if white would have come back, now it's basically the similar situation as it was on the start. White just made this exchange 1-2, but it didn't change much. White all the time played a dame move at this move number 3. So this is probably also not so interesting. So this looks quite tempting move, but in this shape, maybe it doesn't work that well for white. So maybe let's check the other move, B. Like this, white also tries to escape with these stones, but it's not that easy for black to block these stones anymore. Now, if black wants to play some light move to block, for example, while playing like this, there are some weaknesses in black's shape. It might be possible, for example, for white to play just like this. Simple Kosumi, possible to continue escaping with these two stones, with these two stones. So that when white plays there and black tries to block like this, now already white is able to cut, and suddenly we can see that what happened with black stones. Black is under some attacks. So if black really wants to survive, black will need to play something like this. And later, I don't know, maybe playing something this way so that this group will be alive. But there are also some weaknesses in black's shape in this moment. Like, for example, white might be able to play something like this. White might be able to play something like this, and maybe even here, like if black tries to escape, there will be even ladder. It's quite a difficult situation for black as well. Like if black makes this kind of exchanges, white is able to capture the other stones. Basically, it's not so easy for black to play this way. So after white keeps everything connected, even though black is alive, white can survive with this group, and when white connects these two stones with the other part, then probably white should be satisfied. Now also white gets here some extra stones in the center, so that this corner starts to be protected in a little bit better way, in my opinion. So white should be quite satisfied. What else could black play? Maybe for black it would be quite interesting to play Keima. It looks like black protects everything, and black is like one move ahead, so that black will not need to play two moves to block the central part of the board. Like here in this spot, black had to play twice, but now maybe it's possible to do this within only one move. So when black plays this double Keima, kind of, then black protects the center, and maybe also it will be possible to do something with these other stones from white. But now, if looking on this shape, it looks like it's a light shape, but there are some weaknesses in this shape. For white, it's possible to play here in this spot, and black cannot do much anymore. If black tries to cut, white will cut as well. So like this, without any doubt, we can see already that white will cut black and escape without any problems. So what else is possible to do? Maybe black will play like this, but after this move, white is able to play here. Okay, black might be able to cut white. Black might be able to play this way, but now white already takes more territory. Later, black has a possibility to enter this white's corner, but white has here some center move. White has here this center move, so it's possible to cut here. This is another plus for white. It's now possible to cut really black shape, so it's quite annoying agi for black there. Also, now it will be possible for white to cut from the other side. It's also some weakness. Like later, maybe at some point, white will be able to play like this. It also might be a little bit annoying for black if white will cut like this. Maybe white will decide to play something from the other side at some point, so black will need to connect if black has really many agi there. So it's also very interesting exchange for white, because this group on the top starts to be a little bit stronger. This is also another possibility of using this shape, that it's not always cutting. It might be also possible to play something from outside, so that opponent will need to connect this shape. So like this, it might be also some profit for white. So while having here all this agi, like here this cutting, here the other cutting, then I think it should be also quite comfortable for white. So generally, in my opinion, this move looks like it's an interesting move for white just to play this way. What are the other options? Maybe it will be possible to play like this for white, but after this move, maybe black will be interested in cutting from the other side. Now when black plays this way, now white doesn't have already an option to escape towards this direction to the left, so white's only option is to play something connected with this one stone, probably. Okay, one option is to just connect, but this is just not good, so let's focus on some other possibilities. White might be able to play this way. Ladder doesn't work for white, so maybe white will need to play something like this. Black can play here. Later, what else can white play? Maybe white will be able to play here and then cut this stone. Okay, black will survive. White probably will also survive. But suddenly, if looking on this shape, assuming that white really will survive, then black already gets quite nice outside. Quite nice shape from outside. These stones start to be much stronger because black has some extra stone. Here it's also possible to cut these white stones. Later, because black gets stronger with all these shapes, it might be also more tempting for black to play something like this. And yeah, cut maybe white shape on the top. So when black gets quite strong there might be some small agi at this M15 as well. So maybe this one is also not so interesting way of playing for white, but I cannot speak that it's really very bad. Like white will survive with this group at least. So maybe we can also compare this shape with this shape, because like this, maybe for black it will be also quite interesting to play the same. Yeah, but now if we are thinking that if black will not capture this group on the top, and if white will be able to capture all this territory below, then white gets much bigger profit than in the previous situation. So like white will get here this territory. So now when black will play this move number 7, white might be able simply to just play something like this to let black take some small profit, but for white it's still possible to escape. Like if black will try to destroy an eye, it looks like white's group is running away, but there are not so many problems. Like white is able to jump here and connect with the other stones. White is able to play something here and also connect with the other stones. White is able to play like this and create there an eye. And actually white is even able to play here at this L18 and create another eye on the top, because later after playing like this, black cannot really do much. If black simply blocks, white can play like this. After this move, white is able to play here this way, so that white will be able to get there this eye. If black tries to cut, all the time white is able to capture these two stones. So there is a possibility for white to create an extra eye on the top. So in my opinion, white should not worry very much that this group should die, but black can also get some small profit, for example here, several points while capturing this stone. Here, if looking on the other side, this is not an agi. Like if black will try to escape, white can just play like this, so it just doesn't really work for black to do there many problems for white. Like if black tries to play like this, black has 4 liberties. Later, if black tries to cut, white has also 4 liberties, but now it's white's turn. So this is not very scary for white that black will try to escape here. Like also there is this getaway, but black can also play something like this. There might be some crazy ladder. Oh, okay. Anyway, it will be difficult for black to play this way. So this move maybe is not so interesting. This one looks better, but maybe it's also quite interesting for white to play some tenuki. If white simply plays like this, the old style, or playing like this a little bit modern style, doesn't really matter which one of these two white chooses. Now for black, cutting might be also not very interesting, because now after black cuts, maybe white will be still able to survive. Maybe with not all group, maybe with some part, but still it's quite difficult for black to create some nice shape. White can even play now here in this spot. It's difficult to fight for black, because black needs to kill everything there to really get nice profit, to make this move number 2 interesting move. So maybe it's still difficult for black to cut, but black might be interested in playing like this. If black simply strengthens own shape, now white will need to spend this move and play this horrible shape, so that now when black got this exchange A for B, okay, black added some extra move, but when black got this exchange A for B, black should be so happy, in my opinion, that it doesn't really matter that black added this extra move. Black also made own group stronger. Now it should be also easier to play something here on the top again to attack a little bit more that group from white. And what did white get? White only secured some points. Maybe if white would have gotten somehow during this escape some wall like this, maybe white would not need to play at all in that corner, this move number 1. Maybe white would not need to spend a move. So if white tries to escape with these two stones, maybe it will be also possible in some way to protect the corner as well. Here actually, what is the difference between playing like this and like this? When white plays like this, white protects a little bit more this stone. They're a little bit more agi in the corner, so that if black gets some extra stones here, later it might be more interesting to play some crazy moves inside. This is some other option. If white plays like this, white protects a little bit more the corner, so that these moves aren't that scary anymore for white. But there might be some a little bit bigger possibility to attack the other stone for black, but it doesn't really matter much if white plays any of these two moves. Generally, in this position, in my opinion, it's more interesting for white to play in this spot. Thank you for your attention and see you on polgote.com.